Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another episode of Voices, a program by the youth for the youth. And today we're under the topic Church and Mission. And I am not alone again. I've got my brother and friend and co-host, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon. I am the brother and friend, Brandon, as well. And today, under Church and Mission, the main question and topic is how can the church become a more welcoming place for the youth today? And as usual, we are not alone. We've got our two lovely guests, our handsome brother Panache and our beautiful sister Nicole as well. I'll give them an opportunity to introduce themselves.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Panache Kumshila Zumbo, and I'm also happy to be here in this program.
Hello everyone, my name is Nicole and I am very glad to be joining the program.
So before we go further into everything else, we're speaking about how the church can become a more welcoming place for the youth today. So then the most sensible question to begin with would be, what do youth look for in a church community? What do you want to find when you get there?
Okay. I don't know, first thing, when you go to church,
Yes.
who is the church? So the first question you should ask yourself, who is the church? You are the church, I'm the church. So when you step into the surrounding of the church, you are part of the church. So you yourself, you need to look for ways on how you can accommodate yourself into the church. That's the first thing that you must feel. Who is the church? Yours.
So when people shouldn't, before we go anywhere, don't think about what you can benefit from the church, but actually think about how even you can make it comfortable for other people.
Yeah.
So okay, then what can you add that can make it comfortable for yourself and other people as well? What are those ingredients that we can add to the cake?
Okay. I think the first thing is actually easy. Just be available with church services. Be part of the church services. Don't just be a stagnant person who's not doing anything in church. Be part of the church services.
True.
When there is a singing program, just be part of the singing program.
You know, I love the way Brandon says ingredients to make the cake. You know, when you say ingredients, you talk about a whole lot of different things, a whole lot of different people moving to society. And we're trying to make one whole thing, which is the church, the cake, as you said. So you need to be also an ingredient. Not take yourself as an ingredient. That when I'm not there, there's this bit of an offset. When you're there, there's a balance, and it means that everybody has got an important role within the church to make the church welcoming to some other people who might come in to be the toppings, the strawberries, and the whole. Yeah.
So then, my question would then be, still, what do you want to find in a church? Something where someone can actually get there and be like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable here. I feel safe here. What is there?
In a church you need to find love. The church should be loving, but you yourself should be loving as well, so that you can have proper interactions with people.
Another thing, you just need to learn that people are diverse in the church. We have different attributes, different characters. It's not like the church is everyone who is just pure and just kind. We have diversity. So you might end up seeing maybe me, I'm not that kind of a person you'd like to talk to. I'm not a good person, and I'm just not good at talking to people. And you just tell people that no, this church is nice, there's no good people. Just because you talk to me, just talk to someone else. I can help you with something.
Just if someone spoke to Judas, imagine if someone defined the 12 disciples by the actions of Judas. I think it also brings us to the same point we go to say, before we go anywhere, let us agree that there is no perfect church. If you find a perfect church, you'll probably know what's going to do. So there is no perfect church. So moving on from there, how do we then establish the way to look at things, as my brother has already said?
And again, just to explain on that one, we've already touched on a bit of another question that I had here. That says, what keeps some of your friends or keeps us from coming to church? You know, we've already touched a bit on that, but I want us to explain a bit more on what keeps some of our friends out of church.
Okay, so some of our friends come to church with their own expectations.
Okay.
So if you come to church with your certain expectations, if they are not met, you think that the church is not a good place to be. So it becomes disappointing to you. And the church might not be addressing what you need to hear.
Yeah.
And then you think that the church is not good. Yeah.
Before we go into that question, when we say why are some of our friends not coming to church, are these friends that used to come to church and they have just stopped, or it's friends that have a totally different faith or religion from us? When we say our friends are not coming to church anymore, what do we mean? Because we've got friends who are born in the church or they're in the church, but they're backsliding, they're no longer coming to church anymore. So how can we sort of make them feel like they can come to church again? What are the steps that we can take to reach those people who were in the church but have just stopped coming?
It's very hard because sometimes the church has a judgmental atmosphere, right? So maybe if we first correct what's happening within the church, then we can call them back in to say,
But what can we do as individuals? If I've got a friend of mine, he's no longer coming to church. He used to come, but he's just not coming anymore, and he's a youth, and he feels like, what steps can I take to make him feel more welcome? What's the first thing that I can do?
I think trying to find the source first.
Visit.
Because for starters, for someone to backslide, there's usually a reason. For everything, there's always a reason. Remember, if we go into the Bible, for Solomon moved away from God for a bit, and there was a reason to that. He had aligned himself with, started taking in wives from all over the place, right? So with our friends, again, there's things that the basic reason. So I think trying to pinpoint that reason first, and like you said, visit the person, find out what's the problem. Then you try and resolve the problem if you're able to resolve it.
Okay, can you talk about Jesus? It's kind of like what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you say the people who were around him were bad?
No.
He was around good people,
Yeah.
but he had his own intentions about Jesus. He had his own views about Jesus Christ. So you as a person, you have a sense of belonging around people who are around you.
Yeah.
Just be around those people. Try to have those conversations with people. I think
Exactly.
that can help.
It says when you are among the wise, you will have wisdom. If you are around foolish people, you also become foolish. So it's also identifying, being in that same position.
Exactly.
But also, if we say that the church is a judgmental place, let us define judgmental, because sometimes the church is upholding a standard and is focusing on truth. And someone who does not want to meet that standard feels like they're being judged.
Yeah.
Let's address that situation. What do you do when someone is supposed to be doing a particular thing, but because they feel like the standard is too high, they feel like they're judged?
They're being judged, yeah.
you approach the person properly, you don't have to gossip about it.
Okay.
So gossip is one of the problems.
It's one of the problems.
Something. You know, people can talk about you.
Yeah.
You're walking in and then everyone is talking about you. How will
They're
you
just
feel?
looking at you.
You would never come back to
Okay.
church.
Okay.
That's true.
So, which means there's proper ways of addressing these kinds of situations.
Another thing, as a human being, I think we have principles as a human being yourself. You come to church with that kind of dressing whereby you know yourself with this kind of a culture is human beings. You don't have to be that kind of a person who wants to draw attention. Just be clean, just be, so that people can avoid talking about you and stuff.
I mean, if I walk around with a clown suit, why would I be mad at people?
Just imagine. People will just laugh.
Yes, but I think as loving and being loving and lovable Christians, we do not judge people. We take them as they are. But then also, what can the church do, or what can people in the church do, since we've already agreed that the church is made up of me and you, but what can me and you do that can make people feel excluded in the church?
Okay, that's an interesting question. You know, I've heard a lot of people saying about those kind of things, whereby they go to church and they will be like, no, I feel like these people are not.
Yes.
And you feel excluded, you feel
especially in the youth, because there's these groups,
everyone is in his own groups. So the first thing that you have to know is know your spiritual gift. Know what you're good at. You'll find someone in church who is good at that thing as well. Communicate, talk to that person, have a conversation with that person. You will see that you're going to be included in those church programs.
I think also, how can we become inclusive as well.
Exactly.
I was reading something in the Spirit of Prophecy where it's actually life sketches of Ellen White, where it says I think I mentioned this in previous episodes. When she's at church, she would be identifying the needs that other people have. If she sees a sister that's been wearing the same dress for the past year, she would invite her to the house, and then she would first make a dress for her, and then she would invite her for lunch, and then she would gift her that dress. So imagine that person can easily feel excluded, but because of one person, me and you, making the effort to identify someone who needs us to take them from where they are and make them feel. So I think it comes to a personal thing of what me and you can do.
And you know the other thing, you sometimes you need to accept God's work. Like when you are given a task to do in church, you're given a task. You need today, my brother Brendan, you're going to be our chorister.
Yeah.
And you tell them, no, I can't sing. No, you just try and do something.
Yeah.
I know at church people will not even laugh.
Available.
No, just accept God's word.
Yeah.
Just try to do something in church.
And volunteer.
Exactly.
Do God's work.
Exactly.
And again, on that base, like there's some decisions, Brandon, and to the panel that are made within the church. Should the youth be privy to making such decisions at church? And if so, how?
The youth can be involved in, as Panashe said, the youth can do choristering, witnessing and preaching, as well as leading in other church departments. That will help them make some decisions within the church. They are availing themselves. They are volunteering to do stuff. It can create a deeper connection with them and the Lord, and it gives them sense of purpose.
Okay.
Exactly.
There's this idea that when we start including the youth in the church, somehow the church has to lower its standard to the youth. But don't you think that we as youth are actually capable of carrying God's work the same way that the early reformers did or the great missionaries did? Does the church have to lower its standard for us? Are we that used?
You know what? Fortunately, I had this kind of conversation with my pastor some time before. He was actually telling me that I visited some like university academies, and when you see those youths leading the other youths, you see that kind of thing whereby they will be more strict than them being at church. So they have this sense of responsibility when they are together.
Okay.
I mean, we look at the way God chose. There's a lot of people. Timothy was leading the church at about 70. So age has nothing to do with the size of the responsibility. God can call young people to him. Thank you so much for watching this segment where we're discussing about church and mission, where we're speaking about how the youth can feel more welcome and involved in the church today. Catch us on our second segment where we'll be dealing with questions and answering them that have to do with church and mission. Thank you. Beautiful people, welcome back to the second segment. I am Brandon, your host, and Brandon.
Hi, Brandon. It's been a lovely session. The first one was a lovely session. And right now we've got questions, people, from all our different viewers from around the world. And those questions, they've been sent to us. And if you want to have your questions asked here in the program, please send them over to us, mostly on our Instagram page, which is at Voice It, and our YouTube pages, also at Voice It. Just drop them in the comments and we'll get back to them.
Yes, so the first question then is, what role does social media play in how youth connect with their faith? Now, I just want to add on to that question is, does social media actually have an effect or a role in the disconnect? Because let's agree, social media has caused a disconnect between us and our faith. So how can we bridge that gap?
Okay, that's a good question.
So as you know, social media is too much impact in our lives.
Yeah.
So whatever you post, know that there are 1,000 people who are also doing that thing.
Yes.
So whatever we're supposed to be posting, we're supposed to be careful in whatever we're supposed to be doing on social media.
But what about the stuff that we see as well? The stuff that, because I'm thinking, we can't expect 6 days of nonsense that we're watching to be undone by one day of church.
Okay, so he's dwelling much on what we post and not what we see.
Exactly.
So social media brings different things. For example, bad videos and good videos too.
Yeah.
So maybe if you learn to subscribe to channels that are related to your faith, maybe the feed could come as
Only there's something. How do we discriminate now?
Okay.
The good thing, the good videos, and the other bad videos.
Okay. Just to add on what she said.
Yeah.
You know, she was leading to where I was getting interested, but she stopped short of that. The thing is, with social media, what happens with our phones now? We've got these things that recommend certain things for us.
Yes.
So the more you watch, or maybe you listen to a lot of a cappella. For me, I love a cappella. It'll recommend a lot of a cappella. Like when you open your TikTok, the first thing you're going to see is a lot of a cappella videos.
Yes.
If you're somebody who loves playing guitar, like you, Ryan, you start going over your phone and you're always searching guitar, it's going to start putting what? Guitars.
What
so
you like.
the moment you start seeing a lot of, especially on your TikTok, you start seeing some funny things coming up on your screen. Just know it's because that's what you're usually searching.
Exactly.
Yeah, because these things recommend, that's what has happened with our devices now.
Exactly.
They have become in tune. They learn.
They can sense.
They learn from what we give them, we feed them. Yeah.
But also, can we not learn to spend less time on social media and more time in our scriptures? Don't you think that's a better solution? Because I'll give an example. If you are watching, even on Instagram, YouTube, or whatever, I was on YouTube, and there was an advertisement for Temu. You know Temu, the internet store, and they were advertising dresses. And you could imagine the dresses. It's no longer about dresses.
Yeah.
The devil is very cunning. It's now about something else. So even things like that, that can come unannounced, unexpectedly. When you go to Instagram on your search, there's thousands of people who do not care that you're an Adventist. They just post.
Exactly.
So how can we then try as much as possible to spend more time in our scriptures and less time on social media? Because social media can never replace the scriptures, no matter how good it gets.
No, it cannot. It cannot. So the thing is, to try and break it down for a bit, you know what? Scripture, some people have taken scripture as something that we can throw to the background and say, we're going to come to it maybe another time, maybe when maybe we're having, for those who have evening services at home, then you're like, okay, I'm going to read the Bible that one time. But I think the scripture needs to come first before whatever we receive over the phone. Because we cannot say we're going to have a guide to stopping whatever. We need to actually, you usually say, Brandon, replace. And the only thing you can use to replace social media is the Bible. So the moment you choose to say, okay, I'm going to replace social media with scripture moves from the background and becomes in the foreground, and social media goes back to the background.
Exactly.
But it's not easy. Like you say,
it is not that easy.
Social media, you're going to be doing the Bible. You're not dealing with social media things.
It's not as easy as you say.
It's not as easy. Just like, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
Social media is like an addiction, if I may say. And with every addiction, it's never easy to let go, but it's easier to start.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So let's try and treat it as an addiction, if I may say.
Social media actually needs its own topic. So we won't digress. But I think the crux of the matter is the fact that just because it's difficult doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to stop it. It needs to be stopped. I'm always going to say this. I am a living example. I deleted my social media platforms. I don't watch any movies. If I'm listening to anything, it's a sermon or it's like Fountain View Academy. So when you fill your mind with that, it's much more difficult for the devil to come in. But then the next question would be, how could churches, it's a very interesting topic, how can churches balance tradition and innovation? Because you have a situation where the church is holding on to certain things that are not biblical, but because we've been used to doing them and we don't want to change them, they're not literally biblically right. How can the church balance?
Okay, I think I've had this conversation with my grandmother. Back then, that I was asking her, no, there are some other things that you do, but biblically you cannot see those things in the Bible. So generally, we have a culture, we have a tradition, generally. So I don't think there's nothing wrong about having a tradition yourself. We have something that we believe in, like as Africans, with that thing, and biblically they're not even wrong. Those things are not even wrong. So my question as well would be, can you actually balance the two? I think I'm asking the same question.
Okay, what I can say is it's okay to have culture within our religions, so long as it doesn't remove us from our main mission.
It doesn't go above when tradition doesn't. So that's the problem that the Pharisees had. They put tradition above the laws of God. And I think it's actually interesting because as time goes on, as the youth nowadays, culture is becoming less and less because we've got a mix of cultures. It's no longer one particular culture. So then how can the church be more accepting in terms of allowing certain traditions go because they're not exactly culturally relevant, but they are not biblically wrong?
Yeah, I would say something. I think generally we need to see if the culture or the tradition is going along with the principles of the Bible. That's the first thing that you have to know. If the Bible is saying these kind of things, I think with culture there is a stage where you have to end. And the Bible comes along.
Okay. And again on that, Brandon, I've got another question here. It says, what can the elder leaders or the elders within our church better connect with youth? Since we're speaking on culture, you know, right now we've got the mold. I'm saying, what can adult leaders and you know the adults within our church do to connect with us, the youth? Because right now we've now got a blend of let me say what we call the youth's call modern culture and what we call the olden culture. But now
a generation
gap. So how can they then try and bridge that gap?
I think they should try and have conversations with us and hear some of our opinions on things, because we have different opinions on certain things. So if they hear us out, maybe they could understand how we relate.
Should they try and have conversations with us, or we should try and have conversations with them?
Okay, correction. We should try and talk to them, and then they can hear how we think.
Because I get what you're saying. The adults do have a part to play. They also should be forthcoming to the youth, but also the youth as well. I feel like we have put ourselves in a corner where we feel like, no, the adults should come to us. But what role do we have to play in approaching them? One of you mentioned volunteering to take part in church, whether it's choristering, going with one of the elders and doing door-to-door evangelism, to have that connection with the adults. They've been where we are, but we haven't been where they are yet.
I think that's the other thing. We like the first question that you asked. Now as youths, we think we know more because of social media. We are talking in social media and we think we know a lot of things. But those elders, they know a lot of things. So having conversation with those elders, they've passed through a lot of things that we haven't even passed through. So they know a lot of things about things. So we need to have those conversations with the elders.
So what kind of service projects or community involvements can actually attract the youth? Because we know that when we're dealing with the youth, we're dealing with people of a particular mind. How do we involve them without compromising on principle?
I'm not sure if I'm correct, but I think we could do community service and outreaches. We go to certain places and then we sing, we do our preaching, and then we witness. That's involving the youth to come and...
I think the other thing, let's not try and please everyone.
I think the other problem that we have as a church, we want to say, okay, we want to attract the youth. So we want all of them to come. It's not all of them that are going to come. But because if you want everyone to come, just remove all the standards and the principles, put them aside. Everyone's going to come. But as long as you have the principles, not everyone's going to come.
Exactly.
So what are some of the fun things that the church elders or the church boards or adults can start to look into that are not biblically incorrect, that can actually assist in bringing more youth without compromising on principle?
We're talking about social Sundays, social days, like having those kind of days when you have sports activities and stuff. I don't think there's anything wrong about that. Just having those kind of.
I think even this is good, right?
Exactly. So the voices, exactly.
Yes. And I think even,
So we could, with the Voice It program, it teaches the youth to do certain things. So I think the sports should have, there are sports, yes, but we should learn something from them.
Exactly.
Because I think even initially, from the beginning, from the onset, sports has this competitive spirit that it arouses, where it's about being better than the other person. But I think when it comes to the youth and us being closer to God, it requires us to say, okay, we're playing soccer, fine, it's the only thing that we can do. But meanwhile, let us somehow try to involve activities that have less to do with self and more with us getting to know God. And I think even our church leaders and elders, they will actually second that, they will be open to that, as long as it is for the betterment of the gospel. No, thank you. Thank you so much for watching this wonderful segment, where the ultimate point of the conversation is when we desire to do God's work, we have to be out of date for certain people. We have to be old school, because the laws and principles that we follow are as old as the earth, because they come from God. So we can't expect to be modern enough for other people. We're definitely going to be old school. But for the youth, let us take part more in church activities. And for the elders in the church, let's bridge that gap, because the youth are the leaders of the church of tomorrow. We are the church of tomorrow, not tomorrow, of today as well, because the youth are the ones that still have that energy, that drive, and that power to finish God's work and to reach the gospel everywhere. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any more questions and comments, you leave them in the comments section, and also please send messages in our DMs on our Instagram, and also we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much, and we will catch you on the next episode.